Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to the first edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. Health Minister promises significant improvement in the delivery of healthcare services in the coming months. A series of community consultations come to an end. The Gender Affairs Minister deems the exercise a huge success. And preparations for the 2012 Olympics from one of the country's elite athletes. When we come back, our top story. Stay with us.
Hey, you ever wonder what it takes to become a lifeguard? Well, you must have at least a secondary school education. You must be fit and able to lift your own body weight or at least 100 pounds. And of course, you must be able to swim and pass an evaluation. Once you can do that, you then enter the 5-month training program where you will be taught self-survival skills, casualty recognition, rescue skills, first aid and CPR, and search and rescue patterns. Upon completion, you would then receive the Award of Merit, where you would then be absorbed into the 2-year on-the-job training program. There you would learn identifying currents, marking them with flags, report writing, assisting in rescues, administering oxygen to casualties, crowd management, and lifeguard communications. Everything's okay. Okay?
Thank you for staying with us. Time now for our top story. In an effort aimed at securing the future for women and girls in Trinidad and Tobago, the Ministry of Gender, Youth and Child Development recently undertook a series of community conversations in communities throughout the country. Speaking at the final exercise in St. Joseph, Minister of Gender, Youth and Child Development, Verna St. Rose Graves, deemed the exercise a great success. The series of community conversations formed part of this year's observance of International Women's Day. Sharonine Lewis tells us more in this report.
An initiative aimed at highlighting the concerns related to rural women's issues in communities throughout the country. The meeting of rural women on issues related to domestic violence is the final phase of the community caravan exercise to mark the end of the month International Women's Day activities. Minister of Gender, Child and Youth Development, Senator Verna St. Rose Graves, in addressing the gathering said these activities won't be limited to International Women's Day celebrations.
This is a process that we're going to be going through for the year, where we would go to the communities, get their ideas, interact with them, share the information, and take the ideas so that that can help us plan at the ministry. So I'm very, very pleased. I'm very, very pleased.
Additionally, the program is also targeted at bringing communities closer.
And we'll be collaborating with other ministries doing things in the communities. But our programs are mainly targeted for communities and to be close to people where they are so that we can meet their needs closer to home. So whatever we do, it's going to be community focused.
Minister St. Rose Graves said emphasis will not only be placed on domestic violence, but other issues that affect rural women.
The state alone cannot do it, that we need all hands on board. We need civil society, NGOs, faith-based organizations, people in their neighborhoods to put a hand, to be observant, to look at what's happening, and certainly the information we'll give them will help them to get in touch with the resources that they need to take care of whatever situations they may have to deal with. We also want to encourage people to take a strengths approach. Very often we focus so much on the challenges, we quarrel about it, and we do not step up to the plate to take action.
She then shared these words of encouragement.
Start valuing ourselves, valuing those skills. Somebody have a belly ache, we know how to go outside, which bush how many needs to put, how long to put it to sleep, what time to give it to them. Those are things that we have given up and not see as value. When we were talking to you about being depressed, feeling under the weather, women being together, learning to laugh, having a cup of tea or whatever beverage of your choice, taking a few minutes to do that, to talk to somebody, to listen to somebody.
This program is the last phase of the ministry's 6-part community caravan event. Sherilyn Lewis, News 4.
Health Minister Dr. Fuad Khan says government remains committed to the provision of prompt and efficient health services to the nation. In this regard, the Health Ministry has undertaken a comprehensive upgrade of facilities throughout the country. The minister's comments came following a tour of health institutions. John Victor tells us more.
And easy accessibility. It's all part of the vision and plans of the Health Minister as he steers the health sector to be in a more efficient one. Touring health facilities across the nation, Minister Khan met with several staff members, getting a first-hand look at the problems encountered in delivering the best health care to the nation. One of the areas that the minister saw needing attention was the issue of reducing the rate of maternal deaths at the San Fernando General Hospital. With this in mind, he said the ministry intends to commence immediate works on the neonatal center.
The increase in the maternal deaths that were occurring in this area. So I've come to see it firsthand if anything we could do to alleviate those statistics. What I've found this morning, and I've discussed it with Dr. Mugu and Mr. Bosai, CEO, and Dr. Gertz, that we need to put a little more emphasis and effort on the neonatal intensive care unit. We have found that there's a lot we can do to increase the movement and the efficiency in the neonatal intensive care unit. I've directed the chairman and the CEO, he is the CEO, to get a point person in charge of that unit itself. I'm hoping to bring possibly a mobile unit from the Ministry of Health, which we will purchase, so we can the services to that mobile unit while we fix the road. There are a lot of things that are needed and they have been on order, and some have been purchased, ventilators, as well as other units. So that is going to increase the efficiency in the neonatal unit.
In visiting the St. Anne's Hospital, the minister noted that the matter of overcrowding had become an issue, and the state was looking towards providing assistance to families with loved ones who suffered from mental illnesses but did not require hospitalization. He added that the ministry was looking at reintroducing mental patients back into society through social community programs.
What we will do, and I've discussed it with the personal advisor and the manager of mental health, we are going to look for a place or places external to St. Anne's to transfer patients like a halfway house, where they get ready to be accepted into the community. Now I must say something, and media may carry this. Too many Hollywood movies show psychiatric patients as being dangerous. So that mindset, if you realize, has filtered into the population, and they have this feeling that a psychiatric patient is dangerous, but it's not so. A lot of these patients can be treated in the community itself. So we have to develop a mindset that people with psychiatric and mental illnesses are not dangerous. They can be taken care of, and they can live fruitful lives in a family setting, rather than the family, and I use the word very, very strongly, dumping them and leaving them in a public institution so they will not have to take care of them and remove their responsibility.
The minister described the tour as successful and is expected to continue visits to rural health facilities in the near future.
When we come back, the Ministry of Food Production joins with corporate TNT to develop greenhouse agriculture in Trinidad and Tobago.
informing and educating the nation, especially the young ones, about water, how it's won and processed, and how it should be protected are just a few of our major responsibilities here at the Public Education Center. The enjoyable learning environment, cultivating conservation habits, developing healthy relationships, and giving our public an appreciation of the environment in which we produce water. WASA's PEC, the region's only public education center on water.
Carjacking has become very prevalent in recent times. Certain makes of vehicles are more preferred targets for criminals. When approaching intersections or junctions, ensure that all doors are locked and windows are wound up if possible. Remember, crime prevention is everyone's business. A message from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
Welcome back to News 4. Paving the way for greenhouse technology and expansion of agriculture in the country. It is the way forward envisioned by Minister of Food Production, Land and Marine Affairs, Senator Vasant Bharath. It's all part of initiatives by the government to reduce the country's food import bill. Gregory Reyes tells us more.
As government looks to reduce its food importation bill, measures towards improving the yield of produce in and out of harvesting season are being looked at. The project comes as a result of the collaboration between the Ministry of Food Production, Land and Marine Affairs, Repsol and CARDI, and looks at enhancing the yields of produce through a greenhouse system, as well as providing storage systems for these large quantities of crops. Feature speaker at the seminar, Food Production Minister Vasant Bharath said,
"We need to now look at new techniques and new technologies for being able to increase the efficiency levels of our production with regard to vegetables in particular. With shade house technology and greenhouse technology, we're able to control more of the process. And this is why we're hoping that we will attract a lot more of the younger people to get involved."
Minister Bharath says the project holds opportunities for local farmers wishing to branch out their markets to the wider Caribbean region.
For the first time, I suspect for many years, CARICOM ministers of agriculture are getting together to talk about agriculture across the Caribbean. We import $4 billion worth of food. The CARICOM region imports $25 billion worth of food. And I say that because it gives you an inkling of the opportunities that are available to you as farmers using this technology to start supplying your products and your produce into a burgeoning Caribbean market and the CARICOM market. This program here, if you get the opportunity to go through it, will highlight those areas where the government will provide the enabling environment to allow you to know that over the next 4 years, these are the areas that we're going to be concentrating on. We want to assist you in setting up and making sure that you have storage houses provided by NAMDEVCO, so that if there are a number of people coming into the marketplace, you don't have a situation where price drops and there's a glut on the market. We want to assist you in developing export markets and export potential. That's what the government is all about, creating an enabling environment to allow more and more farmers to get involved in a business-like manner in the agricultural sector.
The project also aims at encouraging farmers to look at growing their crops not just as a task, but as a business of their own.
Gone are the days of just planting something, hoping it'll grow, not understanding the technology or the techniques in doing so, doing it simply because it's always been done like that, keeping no records, because farmers sometimes don't like to keep records. They suspect the taxman might be looking over them. But the fact is that if you keep records, what it does is it allows you to look at how you can improve from crop to crop or from year to year. Any business, any successful business must keep records so that you understand trends, you understand what you're doing correctly, you understand how you can tweak it. And sometimes the simplest of increases in percentages as far as yields are concerned adds significantly to your bottom line as far as profitability is concerned.
It is expected that this project aimed at transforming agriculture will be piloted not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but Haiti and Jamaica as well. Gregory Reyes, News 4.
The country's students will be afforded a chance to learn more about the history of the labor movement in Trinidad and Tobago. As it celebrates its 75th anniversary, the Oilfields Workers Trade Union has announced the launch of a schools competition to commemorate its diamond anniversary. It is hoped that through the exercise, students will be able to gain a deeper insight into the impact that contributions by the pioneers of the labor movement has had on the country's development. Verna Barth tells us more in this report.
Schools in Trinidad and Tobago will now be invited to participate in the OWTU's school competition, which was initially limited to schools in St. Patrick and Victoria. OWTU General Secretary Senator David Abdullah, who spoke at the competition launch, says for some 33 years, the OWTU has been conducting an annual competition for primary schools to commemorate Labor Day. Education Minister Dr. Tim Gopi Singh applauded the initiative by the OWTU, which he says enables students to delve into the history of the labor movement, which forms a main part of the country's development.
The schools competitions, for the first time this year, I have been informed, will incorporate all primary schools in the form of poster and essay competitions, which seek to encourage the children to delve into the history of the trade union riots of 1937 and how they influenced the country's political, social, and economic systems of today. These teams will surely impart on the children who participate in them a keen knowledge of the significance of the labor movement and a greater appreciation for their tremendous role in national and personal development.
The Education Minister elaborated on the vital role that the trade unions have played in the development of Trinidad and Tobago.
The essence of trade unionism was and remains social uplift. The labor movement has traditionally been the haven for the dispossessed, the despised, the neglected, the downtrodden, and the poor. Over the last 75 years, the movement evolved into a force which stood for and which continues to stand for the fundamental moral values that made Trinidad and Tobago the great nation it is today.
Principal of the San Fernando TML Primary School, Ms. Camille Hussein, who spoke at the launch, announced that while students have benefited from the initiative, teachers have also gained a wealth of knowledge on the impact of the labor movement in this country.
Through the intense quiz component, I can safely say that the students were not the sole beneficiaries of this exercise. Many of the committed teachers involved have also, as a result, increased their knowledge of the trade union movement in Trinidad and Tobago. Students, apart from gaining this knowledge, have learned the importance of teamwork, sacrifice, managing time, and indeed, many of life's lessons.
OWTU General Secretary David Abdullah says, in recognition of the 75th anniversary of the OWTU, it was decided to invite all primary schools in Trinidad and Tobago to participate. The competition for primary schools will have two components, an essay writing competition and a poster drawing competition. The secondary schools competition will take the form of a display, with students being required to mount an exhibition on a labor-related theme at their schools.
Preparations for the London Olympics by one of the country's elite athletes. That's in our sport feature right after the break.
Hey TNT, I know you all are accustomed to seeing me on the beach, but remember, water safety begins at home. So you see those water containers you all use at home? Things like mop buckets, tubs, wash buckets, those kind of stuff. Make sure you empty it properly and secure it after use. And you know those water containers where we store water in? Make sure you cover and secure properly after use. So little babies and toddlers, don't get into it now. You know what could happen.
Those of you who have swimming pools at home, make sure it's properly fenced. And you know, everybody have an inflatable pool at home. When you're finished with it, empty the water out and deflate it.
Hey, you see them fish tanks we have in the yard? be sure and get a strong wire mesh and cover it properly. And these barrels, I remember of a time, my father sent me to get a bucket of water from in the barrel, but the barrel was only half full. So I leaning into the barrel like this, and lo and behold, I fall into the barrel. Good thing my brother was there to push down the barrel, and I come tumbling out of the barrel. It sounded funnier, but no, for real, it happens. So let's be sure to secure the barrels properly. And remember, water safety begins at home.
Welcome back. The opening ceremony of the London Olympics is a mere 123 days away, and many athletes around the world are either fine-tuning their preparations or trying to attain the qualifying standard for their respective disciplines. Trinidad and Tobago's Jamal James is one such athlete, and he has recently been the beneficiary of a much-needed boost from the government. Wayne Cunningham caught up with the middle-distance runner at the Southern Games.
The dream of most of these young athletes is to represent their country at the Olympics. That is also the dream of Jamal James. And with the games of the 30th Olympiad rapidly approaching, the 800-meter specialist is close to achieving his goal.
Right now, I'm under the tutelage of Frank Gagliano, a very good distance coach. And my mileage is up. I'm putting in 50 miles a week right now with running, you know, so I have to get strong like the Africans and to be able to compete on that level.
On the international stage, the 800 meters is ruled by David Rudisha of Kenya. He is considered the most dominant track athlete in the world, even more so than Jamaican Usain Bolt. Rudisha's world record time is an impressive 1 minute 41.01. 4 seconds slower will be enough for Jamal to qualify for London 2012. And his plans to achieve this are well underway.
The meet we have lined up targeting to run really fast, 144, is the Occidental Invite in LA. That's a big distance meet my coach puts on, and all the top middle distance athletes in the States go to that meet. You know, everybody runs 144, 145 out there. So May 19th is the target date for me to run fast. April 6th, 2 weeks, 2 Saturdays from now, or Fridays from now, I'm going to open up with a 1500 at Princeton University. I want to try to target the national record in the 15, which is 345. And then the week after, I'll open up an 800 at Mount Sac Relays in California, LA.
To fulfill that hectic schedule is an expensive undertaking, but Jamal has gotten some assistance in that area through the Ministry of Sports Elite Athletes Program.
The government just recently gave me my elite athlete funding, you know, and I'm very grateful for that, you know, because a lot of athletes from other countries don't have that support, you know, and I'm very grateful for it, you know.
It's not just London. Then moving on for the Trin City resident, he also plans to make a career on the track.
I love track and feel I have a passion for it. I'm 23 right now. I've been doing track since I was 11 and a half. You know, so almost half my life I've been in the sport. And I mean, I can make a decent living from the sport. You know, so I want to do that, and I also like to push the envelope for Trinidad sports. I would like to take the 800 to a different realm in the English-speaking Caribbean. You know, we have had a lot of success in the sprints, but in the middle distances we hadn't had much success lately. You know, so I would like to change that along with Garvin Nero, who's a really good athlete. I would like for us to change that mold and come in and show them that the Caribbean has more than just sprinters.
4 News asked the LSU graduate if we will see him in the red, white and black at London 2012.
Yes, sir. Most certainly so. Just based on my indoor performance, like I said, the 147 indoor, like a perfect example is Sheridan Cook, our national record holder. The year he ran 145.3 outdoor, which is our national senior record, he ran 147.6 indoor, and I was 0.02 of his national indoor record. So if I'm on that same trajectory, you know, 147 indoor translates to 144, 145 outdoor. So that's what I'm hoping for.
The 800 meters is considered the ultimate test of speed and stamina. Jamal James is determined to be amongst the world's elite over that distance, and he is on course to achieve that goal. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
Persons in Trinidad and Tobago will soon have access to medical information at the click of a button. The Ministry of Health, in collaboration with EBSCO Host, earlier this month launched its e-medical library. Verna Barrett tells us more.
Citizens in Trinidad and Tobago will now have easy access to medical information at the click of a button. The Ministry of Health, in collaboration with EBSCO Host, this month launched the e-medical library, which will facilitate easy access to the most recent full-text coverage and extensive backfile of medical information with unlimited subscription. Health Minister Dr. The Honorable Fuad Khan said NEBSCO Host is known to be the largest aggregator of literature from periodicals, journals, and other sources. He adds that medical professionals will now have access to health information at their fingertips.
EBSCO is the largest aggregator of literature from periodicals, journals, and other sources, and it is the only company to provide its customers with an integrated service that combines reference databases, subscription management, online journals, books, linking services, and A to Z solutions.
The health minister said new developments in the medical field are being made on a daily basis, and as such, access to updated research and online resources would be quite useful to medical personnel and practitioners.
New diseases are being discovered yearly. Other diseases like cancer, influenza are mutating every year. We are still in the research for a cure for known deadly diseases such as HIV/AIDS. And for the first time in history, the prevalence of overweight and obese persons is becoming endemic, and the epidemiological trends of chronic non-communicable diseases indicate that our young people are becoming afflicted much earlier in life. We will utilize all the tools at our disposal to achieve this important goal. Continued research is one of these tools, and therefore it is crucial that if we are to be current and effective, we have to address the health concerns of today and tomorrow.
Dr. Khan adds that patients will also have access to the most updated research data and medical information on ailments.
One of the things I believe that we need to understand is the life of a medical practitioner is busy, and being able to access research information on the go is a valuable tool, and the ministry can provide this.
The health minister assures that plans will be put in place to make the service more user-friendly with regard to accessing the medical journals.
This program with the EBSCO host will not only provide assistance for full articles, full abstracts, multiple journals for both patients, nurses, as well as medical professionals to do online research, online access to medical information.
Accessing medical information in Trinidad and Tobago will never be the same with government's new initiative, the e-medical library. With the click of a button, the daily updated full-text coverage will now be open to anyone desiring medical information. Vuna Barath, News 4.
And that's how we wrap up the first edition of our News 4 report. Do remember to join us every weekday at 6:30 right here on GISL TV4. I'm Nicola Barreto. Goodbye.